Happy Monday. If y'all have not seen the game, I will be wearing this jacket all week, which I've had for years, and I wear it to basketball games, but I don't really have occasions to wear it around the house. And it's been just so fun looking in the mirror and seeing all just the logos and badges of all these teams, patches of all these teams that are filled with incredible athletes and players that I love who come together every 4 years to represent our country, the US, and play against other incredible countries around the world. Both men's and women's basketball defeated France. Both of them played France for the gold medal. Both of them barely won. Barely won. And I posted a couple real-time reaction videos, which is content that I don't really like. It's not niche of me, but I don't know. I felt like recording it because I was already so animated and I was like, I feel like I want to document this for myself. And I want to remind you that documenting your life for yourself is a beautiful thing because you look back on it several years later and you're always so grateful that you recorded it. So don't think that documentation always has to be in with content creation in mind. So it was just really fun to watch it and be like, I think I'm just gonna post this. And as you're building your personal brand and even wanting to be viewed as a professional or an authority figure in any category, I think it's important for people to see elements of your human side. I think there are times where I've wanted to invest in someone or I've wanted to learn from someone, but they didn't feel like enough of a human. Like I wasn't eager enough to learn from them or buy from them, honestly, because they felt too robotic. So you might be thinking you're looking unprofessional, but maybe your humanity is what people actually connect to, and then that gets them to your landing page or your services. So I just wanted to like share that. But with the closing ceremony happening, well, you're going to watch this on Monday. I'm recording this on Sunday. But the closing ceremony is tonight, and I've recorded all of it. So I have a Hulu subscription. That's how I've been watching. I don't have Peacock, but yeah, I've recorded all the daily recaps and the opening and closing and all the basketball games because I just want to enjoy this. Like, we won't have this type of this global competitiveness for another 4 years. And obviously, World Cup is coming for FIFA and there's other sports, but there's something about the Olympics. It's just, I didn't even realize they introduce new sports every 4 years too. Like breakdancing was introduced for this Paris one, but it won't be happening again in the LA one. So you get to vote, or I guess the committee gets to vote on which sports are included in the next Olympics. So I'm just fascinated by it all, thinking of all the moving parts, all of the volunteers, all of the people that are just involved in making this happen, like what it takes to put this on. And like my frame of reference is like being an alto saxophone player in my middle school band when we had like pep rallies. Like that's the extent of being a part of like a lot of moving parts. Yeah, so I'm gonna miss not feeling guilty for only watching the Olympics. Like rarely is there ever gonna be a time where you and people, society at large, doesn't make you feel guilty for not getting anything done in the day because all you did was watch 10 hours of rugby and table tennis. I have never like learned so many random fun facts about so many people and so many sports in the span of these 2 weeks like I did this year. And I feel like I've always been a fan of the Olympics. And I remember watching the Beijing Olympics when I don't know, I was young, but I remember always tuning into the Olympics, but I never remember being this excited about watching or this invested in the outcomes. And yeah, it's just really cool. Okay, let's talk a little bit about life, business, all the things. So we welcomed our third class, our third cohort into the Life Leap, and we just had our first call, and oh my goodness, I feel like we fall in love with our student. Oh, that sounds, sorry. We love our students. We don't fall in love. This is the thing about no edits. You just push through the awkwardness. But we really, really, really are amazed at who we attract and how we intentionally curate our spaces. And I've been able to do it pretty well on my own, but Stefan just adds another level and layer of just intentionality. And I'm so grateful that we get to do it together. And again, it is not common to start a business with your partner. It's also not common to do it so publicly. Like maybe you do it offline and you open up, I don't know, a plant shop together. Like it's common for mom and pop shops to exist in the brick and mortar fashion, but an online business that's very visible and before you're married, like I can imagine it was taboo when we announced it a year ago, but I'm just so grateful for how it's turned out, so grateful for how we've built it, so grateful for how it's growing. And yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. And there's no way we could have forecasted everything going the way it is up till this point. We know that we had a big dream and goal for it, but just the way everything has been happening, it's just it's such a beautiful thing. And we know as well that like if we were like super profit driven and like we wanted to just like make this the most profitable program possible, there would have been a whole different set of approach and different set of values. And I'm so grateful that Stefan and I can come together and say like our priority and our value is cultivating the most global network and community of creatives and professionals. And with that in mind, we can build it slowly. There is no rush, there is no pressure. And we just really get to have fun in the process. And when you like what you do and how you do it, you become a better person and you do the job better. Like there are people that are highly qualified at what they do, but they built their business in a way where it's like a golden prison, golden handcuffs, sorry, golden prison. What? Golden handcuffs. And now they feel trapped by all the money they're making because they don't want to, throw it away. And I think that's a very common, like, it's a very common story. And I've even been there. Like, I think my first like graphic design and photography felt a little bit like golden handcuffs for me because it was profitable, but I was like, it doesn't feel like I'm tapping into all of me. Like I was only using a skill set that was self-taught versus like my brain, my knowledge, and my words and my analogies and the way I put concepts together and my creative ideas. That's always been like my strength. And when I'm doing creative things like photography and graphic design, I don't feel like my intellect and my wisdom is being exercised to its greatest capacity. So it always felt like a limit or a barrier to what I was able to do. So walking away from that and saying no to clients, which was guaranteed money, to like go all in on something else is scary. And it's not that it has to be such a sharp contrast where it's like, I quit this and now it's this. There's going to be probably a few months or years where you're merging the two things, one that pays the bills and one that pays the soul. So yeah, just wanted to share that. And I think we were talking about on the call, the scariest part of change is the previous version of you that has to die off in order to accommodate the next version. And we try to bring our past self and our past values to this next version. It doesn't always work like that because there is a level of sacrifice and compromise that you have to be willing to make in order to, yeah, just make space for this next person, this next version of you that you're stepping into. And in the past, I remember how painful it was when I would be like, well, no one else is doing it. And I want to, stay likable in this community and in this group. And I would intentionally stay small just so that I wouldn't get judgment or criticism from other people who I knew couldn't think as big as I was. And I was like, that serves them. It doesn't serve me to keep doing that. And when I look at my life now, and it's not even out of comparison, but I had to do that because many of them had to like either close down or go back to their old jobs or get a job. And again, there's no shade and no comparison in mentioning that, but just saying that like the people that are probably pulling you down and wanting you to not dream as big as you're dreaming are the ones that are going to miss out on you. They're going to miss out on that connection and attachment to someone who they could vent to, complain to, have easy access to. And as you grow, maybe that means less access for them. And so they're only considering themselves when they're telling you about why you shouldn't go after that thing. So I'm always mindful of like who's really benefiting here by saying small. It's usually the people that want to stay, connected to someone who is resourceful and smart and connected. So just be mindful of like who you are to other people. There are people that want to be that to you, but it requires you stepping outside of who you currently are. Okay. Um, by the way, I wanted to mention this because I forgot to comment on last week's video, but I have a new interview out with Circle. It's called The Making of Glow Atanmo, and you can just search that, or you can search Circle, their YouTube channel. Maybe I'll post it, knock on wood, remember to post it in the description. I hope I do. And if I don't, someone just make a comment and I'll find it. But the woes of treating YouTube like a hobby and not a real job. You get this mediocre version. But I'm enjoying it. I really have been enjoying this, and I can't believe it's August and I've been doing this since January. Just really proud of myself in the consistency. And for those who've like watched since week one, I'm sure you've probably also felt a level of comfort and ease that I've like leaned into. I think in the beginning I wasn't sure what to say and how to say it. And now I feel like I can just talk and it's no pressure. But I think I was saying something about the interview. Go check that out because it was really, I love the questions that Alexis asked and how I was able to retrace my journey, my path, my childhood to get where I am today. And most people who you see and maybe even admire, it's not out of like an abundance of luck that they just like were handed the dream life or path. It was like they probably had a traumatic start to their life. A lot of genius is born out of trauma. And I don't say that to like negate the very real issues people have overcome. But it's a beautiful thing when you can create purpose from your pain. And I think a lot of us have learned to do that. So I really love that interview because I feel like I was able to pull back into parts of my past that I haven't talked about recently, just because the opportunity hasn't presented itself. So I'm looking forward to chopping up different parts of that video and that interview and just bringing it to Instagram to just remind people more to better contextualize where I've been. Oh, there was something someone said about, I think I saw it on Threads, and they were like, no, it was on LinkedIn. And she was like, the financially anxious version of myself was able to do so much. Is that what's required to keep growing? Because I guess she was in her mid-30s, maybe early 40s, but she was saying that she no longer feels that passion and that fire that she once had when she was younger, and that drive and that ambition, and that she feels really a lot of shame for not having what she used to have. And I loved how she presented so transparently what I think many of us feel after grinding for so long. And I probably I think there's a level of hunger. I had literal and figurative hunger in my 20s because there was no backup option, there was no savings, there was no support. It was just me or like a park bench if I didn't have money, which that happened. And it's like you overcome those seasons and you look at life as like, oh, I really can do anything, not out of like my own superpower and strength, but you just know God will always provide and you'll always be taken care of as long as you stay grounded and rooted. So yeah, she was just harping on this fact that like does ambition only derive from a place of financial anxiety? Or are we able to summon it from a place of like aspiration and hope and ambition? And I don't know. It was such an interesting point. And mind you, my most profitable year didn't happen when I was financially anxious. There's a lot of great things that happened that year. Like I started the year off writing, I think a final, is it 60,000? Like I was paying my student loans off, but I wasn't ever, I'll be honest, I don't I don't think I was planning to pay it off. because I was like waiting on student loan forgiveness. And so I was like paying off like minimum, but like not even caring. And then one day I was investing in the stock market and I was just like looking at my accounts and making a transfer. And I was looking at, yeah, I think I was just like consolidating. Oh, I think I was turning 30 that year. And I was just like, I want to be debt free at 30. It just, the idea just came to me. I'm like, I think I want to be, I just want to say that I'm debt free at this age. Like no credit cards, no credit card debt, no student loan debt, no homeowners debt, no mortgage debt. Like just I didn't want anything attached or anything to feel like it was weighing me down. And mind you, debt isn't bad. Like it's debt is also leverage, and we can talk about that in another video. But yeah, I just felt I saw that I could, and I was like, then I just should. And so in one fell swoop, I wrote a $60,000 check and I paid off the remainder of my student loans. I felt like a momentary, like, oh, that was like it felt powerful, kind of like, wow, I dang it. It's like a moment of like relief, and then you're like, man, I could have just booked a trip to you just you just think about all the things that you could have done instead. But no, the level of responsibility I felt just prioritizing my credit score was also like I think that was the first time it touched the 800s. Like I just really wanted to get to a place where um I was doing something that was prioritizing my future self. Financial anxiety. I don't know where I was going somewhere with all of this. Uh, yeah. Well, I guess just back to her point. Yes, how I was saying my most profitable year, I wasn't financially anxious. I was actually doing really well. And I think, but here's the crazy thing. Here's the if I really get honest with myself, the year I was doing the best was when I was the most like grounded and spiritually rooted in my word. Like I was reading the Bible every day. I was praying, I was studying the word. I was just reading books all the time. And like that direct correlation isn't a surprise. Like I know because I was so connected to God, it was so easy for him to speak to me and through me and like affect my work and provide in creative ways that I wasn't looking for. So I just have to remember like the closer I get to God, the easier life gets. So like why don't I just like remember that always? Um okay, the intentionality required for the next the next intentionality required for what's next. There are times where I'm like saying, "Oh, I want to write a book." And then I just hope the book one day writes itself. I literally think that's how my ADHD brain processes life. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can write a book." And I'll have like agents approaching me and like all of these like book things will be happening in my life, like actively showing me like, "Oh, Glow, it's time to get the book out." And because I've self-published a dozen books, I keep downplaying the process because I'm like, oh, I've done it. I haven't done it at that level, like traditionally published. Well, sorry, yes, I have once through Thought Catalog. Gosh, it's been 7 years. 7 years? Wow, yeah, I'm overdue. I'm overdue. But anyways, I keep saying that like I'm capable of doing certain things, but I don't intentionally work towards it. And that's that bias of knowing that in school, your mediocre was better than most people's best. And so sometimes it doesn't allow you to intentionally plan the way maybe the majority would have to in order to accomplish the same goals. And I can't have that arrogant approach to growth because it is going to require the same blood, sweat, and tears and grit and hustle. Because no matter what, like a book, writing a book is it's a big undertaking. And I don't want to downplay, especially if you do have ambitions to be a New York Times bestseller. I don't want to downplay not only the work, but the impact it can make. And when I look at friends like, I mean, Mel Robbins is incredible, and Jamie Kern Lima, and these are multiple New York Times bestsellers, best-selling authors, and what it's done for how they approach their life and their purpose and their path. Like it's just opened doors for so much more ease and alignment in how they work. And it's like, Glo, that's what you want. Because you don't, I'm not motivated by money the way I used to be. And so it's like, oh, well, I know that I can get a six-figure book deal. Brennan Burchard was like, Glo, don't sign anything less than a seven-figure book deal. And I'm like, noted. Like, so when you know that's possible, but it doesn't drive you anymore because you know you've already gotten anything and everything that you've wanted from money. Like there is no material wants anymore. I am grateful for that aspect of my journey that I don't have many vices like travel, duh. I probably upgraded how I travel, like a little bit more luxury, but I'm still okay with like uh basics. Like I'm not above like standard travel. But yeah, I don't have vices or things. Like everything I have is, yeah, it's just very basic. A lot of the tech is like it's a business expense or it like enhances business, but I don't have things that I'm attached to um expensive things. Like I'm not weighed down by my material possessions, and that's a really free place to be. So I guess with that in mind, it's sometimes hard to cultivate my own ambition when money doesn't drive it. And I think a lot of times when you're financially anxious and you do need the money, there is that level of drive and hunger because it's like you need the money. But it's like the money is needed for the basics and survival, not so much like leisure and stuff. So getting to a place where I'm able to measure a healthy level of ambition with like a standard level of survival. Like there's, or just even investments, like hustling for investments, because I don't need to change how I earn now, but maybe I can change how I'm investing more into my future. Okay, couple more points, and I'm looking to the right because I started like just like bullet pointing some notes since I record this on Zoom now. Makes it easier. Okay. I wrote this down, celebrating your now before your next. And it's really good. I should probably turn that into content. But what I mean by that is even though your now might not excite you, learn to celebrate it before the next happens because you want to get into this almost like pattern of celebrating life no matter what season you're in and romanticizing your life in a way so that at every step of the journey, it's worthy of celebration. I don't want to feel like I'm not worthy of being happy until every single goal is met. I don't want to feel like happiness can't be found in my todays because I'm still working towards a big dream. Like I want to always be celebrating my now before my next. So I wanted to just share that line with you all because it literally came 2 minutes before I pressed record. And I'm like, and again, that's how God works. I'm like, I just be talking to God. I'm like, what do the people need to hear? Like, what should I what should I tell them today? And that downloaded, and I can't take credit. I know that's God trying to get a message to someone else out there. So I hope that resonates. And last thing I want to say, the obstacle that happens before the overwhelm, a lot of times that a lot of times when you are getting ready for like a growth spurt or change or a big move, the overwhelm becomes the obstacle. Like you now have so many steps, you have so many videos, you have so many books, you have so many emails, you have so many ideas, and that is all an obstacle now. It's no longer inspiration. It's a big obstacle of overwhelm because you've created this mountain of things that you think will enhance your journey when you already have everything you need. And instead of waiting for you to consume all of the content and write down all of the steps and the planning and all that kind of stuff, take action with what you have and figure out what that looks like on a daily basis. I try to not make my goals feel like, yeah, like if I can't break it down to a daily task, it's not a real goal. Like I need to be able to work on it in a small way daily so that it doesn't become this like big monster of a thing that I never touch because it's so big. Heavy on the motivational tip today, huh? Hmm. Motivation Mondays. It's the call. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this Yeah, I can't believe this journey is it's more than halfway done, but it also, this format of videos will end by the end of this year. But it won't end. It's going to, a new one will replace it. And I'm excited for that. For those that didn't know, I started these videos just out of a desire for consistency. I knew that YouTube was a platform that I wasn't fully taking advantage of. And I also knew that if my speaking and my talking and my coaching is going to be something that will always earn me the top dollar for as long as I'm living. And also, public speaking is the number one fear in the world. How much greater of an asset does that make you if you learn how to conquer it? So I know with each of these videos, with the irony, which each with each of these videos, I get just a tad bit better at articulating my thoughts and connecting with the camera and not being afraid to speak what's on my mind. And it really always comes down to shortening that pipeline from idea to income, the idea to income pipeline. How short can you make it? And every time I put my thoughts and words out there, I'm getting clearer about the next thing I want to do. So, yeah, I'm excited for the next iteration of these videos. And I'm already starting to kind of like brainstorm and ideate what it could look like. The production value will go up, I promise. Y'all just had to You have to just bear with this. And if I'm being honest, when I'm like even casually consuming videos, production value is great, but I'm looking for the message first. I will always like be drawn to someone's like humanity and personality and message before I'm looking at like what ISO and frame rate are they shooting with. All of that can easily be upgraded and replaced. So keep the main thing the main thing. And yeah, I've got a couple months left. Not a couple months left. Well, I guess in this place, I really do have to start packing things up. And I'm like, I feel like I'm purposely not avoiding it, but I'm not rushing to do it, which lets me know I'm not looking forward to the process. I've never moved before, y'all. Like, well, we moved as a family from California to Phoenix. I went to high school there. And then I kept all my stuff in my childhood bedroom and then took a couple suitcases to Kansas, where I went to college. And yeah, from Kansas to living abroad, I had just one suitcase. And yeah, like I always had a place to leave stuff, and then I just took a suitcase from there. So this was my first place where I had to like invest in furniture and buy tables and chairs and plants, all fake plants. Where is it? There we go. Um, yeah, but it's still, so I've never fully packed up a home. And I think that's giving me a lot of anxiety. And again, thankfully, I have a friend who just a great person that I can like give most of this stuff to. I'm sure she'll have a use for most of it. And then whatever I um want to keep or want to give away. Yeah, basically, I think everything that's in good condition that she'll take, and then whatever's like disintegrating, I'll throw away. And then whatever just feels like junk or memories, I can put in storage. And yeah, I'll clear this place out. It's delayed a little bit of my trip. I'm supposed to be in Europe right now. And then I'll be in Africa. So I'm like, I think there's a little bit of anxiety trying to plan my location and my whereabouts, knowing that I have a certain date where I have to fully leave this place. So just trying to, mm, yeah, let me just not think of that. That doesn't help. I keep saying, let me not think about it, and then it never gets done. And that's why we're still here. Okay, y'all, have a great week. Do what you can to get a little bit better. I'm going to try to send out a newsletter. That's how I'm going to get better. 1% better, 1% brighter, 1%. That, I have a newsletter about this, and I 1% better, 1% brighter, 1% bigger, bigger, better, brighter, braver. There's only so many B words. I was like, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Y'all gonna wait for this 30-minute video. Yeah. So do something that makes you 1% braver, 1% better, and 1% brighter. And if you're not on my newsletter, I will be sending one today or tomorrow. And you can join it. Yeah. I was like, wait, I don't like to promote this one because it's like a diary. Whatever. It's in the link in my bio, glowgraphics.bio. It's in the description. At the very bottom, you'll see like the little email icon. I make it hard to find on purpose. I'm not someone that likes to advertise my newsletter because it's like my safe space to still be myself. And yeah, but I gotta get over that fear. I literally coach people on being visible and I be hiding myself. So let me check myself. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Talk to you soon and thanks for watching. Bye.